Well, thank you to President Schaeferger for the kind introduction. We certainly value our continued partnership with you all. And I'd like to thank you and General Secretary Treasurer Edward Kelly for leading this organization that plays such a critical role in keeping our community safe. So thank you. It's my honor to join you here today and my pleasure to congratulate you on 100 years of serving those who bravely serve others. DHS also recently celebrated a milestone. Just last week, we celebrated 15 years since we first opened our doors. A somber and celebratory occasion both. Somber because the existence of DHS is forever tied to the tragic events of 9/11, a particularly tragic day for the first responder community in New York, who, as you well know, lost hundreds of their brothers, but celebratory as it provided an opportunity to thank the men and women of DHS for their commitment to our country. As the President said, I'm the first DHS secretary to have worked at the department before, and I'm proud to say I was there in the early days helping to stand the department up at the Transportation Security Administration. It was a tremendous honor to work alongside the dedicated public servants who helped stand up the department and to support them now as secretary. I'd also like to take a moment to introduce you to another dedicated public servant, our U.S. Fire Administrator, Chief Keith Bryant, who I believe is over in that vicinity if he can raise his hand. Chief Bryant joined the department last August and has a long and distinguished firefighting career. Many of you already know him. Before being sworn in as fire administrator, Chief Bryant was the chief of the Oklahoma City Fire Department. During his 35-year career, Chief Bryant responded to some of the most significant incidents in American history, including 2 EF5 tornadoes and the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing. It's an honor and privilege to have Chief Bryant in the department, advising me and Administrator Long on issues related to the public safety professional community. I know you will enjoy working with him and know you have another strong advocate at DHS. Since the earliest days of the department, the IAFF has been a strong and valued partner. From hazmat incidents to the attempted Times Square car bombing, from white powder incidents to raging wildfires, from active shooter scenarios to mudslides, I thank you always for being on the front lines of our greatest Homeland Security challenges. I had the privilege of witnessing the heroism and bravery of our nation's firefighters just a few weeks after I was sworn in as secretary. I traveled to Ventura, California, where thousands of firefighters were battling the largest wildfire in California history, and one of many wildfires that devastated the West Coast last year. The December wildfires, including the massive Thomas Fire in Ventura, forced more than 230,000 people to evacuate. The 6 largest fires burned nearly 308,000 acres and more than 1,300 structures. I was deeply moved and inspired by the heroic men and women who were battling the blaze, working tirelessly over the holidays and spending time away from their families to contain the effects of the fire. We met with survivors, fire chiefs, and other first responders. Tragically, firefighter Corey Iverson was among those who lost their lives in the horrific disaster. Since I was sworn in as secretary in December, more than 20 firefighters have tragically lost their lives. You have DHS's commitment to support IAFF efforts to reduce that number. The destruction we saw in California this year has now become a painful annual reminder of the potential dangers of our population's rapid growth into traditionally natural areas. According to one estimate, we are adding more than 4,000 acres every day to the wildland-urban interface, where we build homes near or on lands prone to wildfire or fire. In the U.S., over 46 million homes and over 70,000 communities have been built in the WUI. Everyone now has a potential ignition source. As you well know, fires in the WUI spread more quickly, are more challenging to control, and are far more destructive. In California alone, an average of over 1,000 structures per year has been lost to such fires since 2000. The federal government is sponsoring research through the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the National Interagency Fire Center, among others, to improve our approach to fighting such fires and mitigating the effects of fires on structures and communities. I know we can count on your support as we work with our interagency partners to support your efforts to understand this connection and to mitigate possible future scenarios. The IAFF and DHS have much in common, protecting people and saving lives. But our jobs are not solely about responding to disasters. They are about preventing disasters from happening and helping people be ready if and when disaster strikes. One of my priorities as secretary is to help build a culture of preparedness in the United States. In light of the natural disasters that affected millions of people last year, building more resilient communities is the best way to reduce risks to people and property and reduce the impact along the way on taxpayer dollars. Our public safety professional partners and our partners at state, local, tribal, and territorial levels of government play a critical role in increasing the resilience of our communities. And through 2 grant programs that the President mentioned at the beginning, led by the Department's Federal Emergency Management Agency, we seek to support public safety professionals get the tools they need to keep our communities safe. The first program, Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response, or SAFER. As an aside, this is one of the acronyms we actually got right. It's easy to remember and it's true to the purpose. I can't say that for all of our acronyms at DHS. SAFER helps fire departments and firehouses maintain staffing levels. These grants not only fund the hiring of new firefighters, they also help you rehire firefighters who've been laid off or whose positions have become vacant due to attrition. The second program is Assistance to Firefighter Grants, or AFG. AFG helps firefighters and other first responders obtain the equipment, protective gear, vehicles, training, and other resources enabling you to save lives. And I'm happy to say that the Reauthorization Act of 2017, passed by Congress and signed by the President, reauthorized funding for AFG and SAFER grants and funding for FEMA's U.S. Fire Administration through 2023. Additionally, the recent tax reform bill passed by Congress contains a provision known as the Fire Sprinkler Incentive Act. This act gives business owners incentives to retrofit their buildings with fire sprinkler systems. This is not only an important measure for public safety, it's a firefighter safety measure too. Over the years, IAFF has been instrumental in getting Congress to continue funding these programs and to support such legislation. I thank you for your continued support and advocacy. With FY 2017 funding, FEMA will award $690 million directly to fire departments and other eligible entities to enhance the safety of the public and firefighters with respect to fire-related hazards. FEMA, through its training partners, including the National Firefighters Academy and the Center for Domestic Preparedness, has also trained over 1.5 million firefighters since 2002 in everything from responding to hazmat and WMD events to incident management for disasters such as the Thomas and Tubbs fires in California and Hurricanes Harvey and Maria. In addition to these activities, under the leadership of Chief Bryant, the U.S. Fire Administration has established numerous partnerships and initiatives with the IAFF to enhance firefighter health and safety. This includes funding an important study of occupational cancer among firefighters with the National Institute for Occupational Health and Safety. Personally, I believe one of the most powerful lessons in leadership is taking care of your people. I have committed to do this for those at DHS, to give them the support and tools they need to do the jobs entrusted to them by the American people. DHS will work with our interagency partners to continue to support studies and related efforts to support firefighters as well. I'd like to congratulate the IAFF Center of Excellence for Behavioral Health, Treatment, and Recovery on a very successful first year. And I thank them for the important work they do, helping save the lives of firefighters so they and you can in turn save lives in our communities. Firefighting, as you know, is a calling, one critically important to our communities and our nation, but we are far too often reminded that it is also a very dangerous profession. First, there's the physical toll of your work. I need not say more about the heavy equipment, dangerous chemicals, long hours, and uncontrolled environments. There's also a significant mental and emotional toll. Public safety professionals are not strangers to loss and tragedy. Any call has the chance to hit close to home, to see families torn apart by tragedy, communities in desperate need, and to see the havoc and disaster that can be wrought by Mother Nature and human nature. To be a public safety professional is to see people on their very worst days, or even the very last minutes of their lives. That's why the IAFF Center of Excellence for Behavioral Health, Treatment, and Recovery, celebrating its first anniversary this month, is so important. It's the first treatment center for firefighters that treats substance abuse issues, PTSD, and other behavioral health concerns. In its first year, the center has received Joint Commission accreditation, the gold seal of approval for treatment centers. 266 firefighters have been treated at the center. If we could, I would just like to take a moment to congratulate you and your efforts at this center. The U.S. Fire Administration, FEMA, and DHS, and the entire family that we represent stand ready to support our nation's first responders. We are proud of our partnership with IAFF and with fire departments, firefighters, and emergency medical personnel across the United States. I value your expertise and rely on your account of what your communities need to prepare and respond to hazards that we face. I look forward to continuing and advancing our partnership. We will continue to support you through grant programs administered by FEMA and through community resilience building activities, everything from soft target training to active shooter modules for our state, local, and tribal territorial partners. Thank you always for your service and your commitment to public safety, and thank you for making our homeland more secure. I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much.